Hey everyone, welcome to the second week of OZV Live. I'm your host Xander, I'm a rover and the Director of Marketing for OzVenture. Tonight we've got a massive show coming up. We're announcing the site for OzVenture and we're also discussing the on-site activities and the gold, silver, bronze system. This evening we're joined by Chief Director David Jacobs, OzVenture Ambassador Cameron Letta, our other Ambassador Emma Katen, and our Director for on-site activities Bryn Catlin. How's everyone going tonight?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Doing well, thank you.
Oh, man.
Now, Dave. Ooh. Now, Dave, you're starting the show off. We wanted to get you on this week to kind of talk to everyone about what the vision for OzVenture was, because we've been having quite a few questions, I guess, from people who were interested in how events were run, and they wanted to know, like, when you have an open canvas and you're given a year or two to get an event to happen, where do you start?
Yeah, look, really good questions, Andrew. A lot of our time was spent with previous attendees for last ventures. And for those who don't know, the venture format used to be that everybody would come in to the core camp, meet for a day, and then travel out within, for example, New South Wales to do their expeditions, which are all the same length, and then come back into the same meeting location and do what we're calling the core phase. So we had a look at that and had a bit of research with a lot of venturers. And what we wanted to do was make it a little bit more exciting, collaborate with a lot more of the branches, and offer potentially an international experience. So that's exactly what we've done. We're working with six of the branches to put together expeditions of variable lengths. Because one of the things that was, really important to us was to make sure that we were offering an experience that was affordable for everybody's budget, but also we know that a lot of venturers have part-time jobs, so a shorter expedition was also really important for those people that are probably earning a lot of money during the Christmas period, so can't afford a lot of time off. So that's the reason why we've got different or variable length expeditions. And yeah, so COVID-19's changed a few things on the international scene, but we really wanted to give that international experience, knowing that so many venturers do travel overseas, but just try and be, I guess, as economical, or as we said last week, giving that value for money as possible. So that's what we've set out to try and achieve. We believe we're about 20% cheaper overall than the last venture. So we are really trying to drive that value, and especially now more than ever, provide an experience that's going to be amazing for all of the venturers out there, and of course the rovers and the leaders that come along and help us.
Sweet. So I guess a lot of venturers, this is going to be their first major camp after isolation ends. What do you think sets OzVenture apart in terms of coming together and being able to celebrate scouting and being outdoors?
Yeah, look, I think a lot of people out there have probably experienced a jamboree or definitely know about a jamboree. What I think a venture sets us apart is that ability to be able to really choose your own adventure that speaks to you as a person. So if you want to go off scuba diving or mountain biking or adventure sports, or go to a tropical beach and just enjoy that environment, you can on your expedition. So you can really choose an activity that you're interested in. But just like the jamboree, we bring everybody together so we can have that large event experience. And I just think that, talking to venturers or rovers now that have been to a venture, one of the highlights they always come back with is just the friends that they make. And I think by being able to offer an experience that you're really interested in, you're with people that are also interested in those things as well.
So I guess with all of that, we had so many different options to choose from. How did you, leading the team, start, nailing down which site we were going to choose? Because there were so many different options in so many different locations across New South Wales. How did we get to our final destination?
So you want me to reveal the site, don't you?
Yes.
So one of the important things that we had with OzVenture is our youth engagement team. So this team was made up of Scouts, Venturers and Rovers all across the country, led by Owen. And basically we went through a whole heap of, surveys and polls and that sort of stuff. There was also a commercial consideration as well to what could drive the best value for money. And, drum roll, I can reveal that our core phase activity site will be Cataract.
Nice. So I guess a lot of people probably have a lot of questions about that. And I mean, some venturers would have been there for the 2016 Jamboree. What will be different about Cataract as a site for a venture rather than a Jamboree?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And we've got, I think later on you'll be interviewing Robbie, who's our entertainment director. He's heavily involved in entertainment for a lot of major events, as am I. It's all about setting it up and that experience up for the older age group. So definitely a lot of rovers on board with, I think Bryn's going to talk a little bit about Roverscope maybe, and just activities and a setup that's aimed at adventure age as opposed to maybe some of our younger members of Scouting.
Sweet. Now, Emma, you've been to Ventures before. What have you enjoyed about Ventures most?
Yeah, I guess so. I went to AV 2018, which was up in Queensland. That was a really good camp for me because it was actually 2 weeks before I turned 18. So it was like going out adventurers with a bang. What I enjoyed most was definitely meeting people from not only all over the country, but we had a pretty big UK contingent come, and a lot of them were on my expedition, and we're still friends and still talking then with them now. So yeah, definitely all the different friends you get to make and still stay in contact with. I also liked how our expedition, we went to Morton Island, and it was a very sort of chill beach expedition. Did a bit of four-wheel driving, a bit of snorkeling, and it was a lot of, you get to sort of, like what Dave said before, choose your own adventure.
How did you find it differed from like a Jamboree or a cub camp?
Well, I didn't actually do cubs, but the Jamboree I went to, from what I remember, it was also in Queensland. You would, in your patrol, go on and do different activities. So it was very much, and we got a timetable. It was like, you do this at this time, which was fun when I was 11 when I went. It was great fun. But with OzVenture, I sort of I want to do this core activity, and my one friend that I had in my unit, didn't matter that she wasn't doing what I was doing, because we went off our own separate way. We got to meet even more people. So it was very much sort of, you get to choose what you want to do when you want to do it, which is how I find it sort of differs from a Jamboree as well.
Awesome. Now, Bryn, you're our director for on-site activities.
Yes.
So you're presented with Cataract Scout Park. How do
Yes, I've been to Cataract many times. Yeah.
What's your favorite part about Cataract?
My favorite part about Cataract is actually the bush setting. So if you've ever been to a Jamboree at Cataract, you know that you're camping in the bush. There's gum trees around you. All the activities are set in a bush setting, and I just really love the outdoors. So Cataract for me is it's all about the bush setting and the amount of activities you can do in the bush.
How did your team start to shape that setting towards being the venture site?
So we've got this is a hard question. So obviously we've got we've got activities and stuff. This is a hard question.
Okay, I guess what were the kind of activities from the get-go you wanted to have at the venture?
Really high engaging activities that everyone will just love to do, like over and over and over again. Stuff like archery tag, laser tag, like Zorby soccer and all that stuff.
Nice. Now, I remember from some of the early meetings we were talking about, it was really important that we had scouting style activities in there mixed with activities that are more appropriate for a venturer audience. How did that inform your choices when you were creating the activity roster?
So a lot of the on-site activities that Cataract itself provides involves a lot of abseiling, rock climbing, caving even. And these are all aspects of ventures that I experienced and many other people experience. We've also got other things like mountain biking and amateur radio stuff. So for very, very niche and uncommon aspirations in ventures, I guess.
That's awesome. Now, when venturers arrive to site, they get to choose their expedition beforehand. So they know what's going to happen before the actual core camp. And when they get to the core camp, we're choosing activities a bit different this time. As Emma said previously, or at a jamboree, you would be given an itinerary of where you're going to go. How a venturer is going to be able to choose for OzVenture?
So in the application process, you actually get to pick, or you get to preference your what on-site or off-site activity you want to do throughout the entire core camp phase. And if you feel like you want to change it, like the day before it's going to rain, you don't want to go outdoors and do like rock climbing or something in the Blue Mountains, you can go and do go do something indoors, like indoor karting or axe throwing. Something indoors, so you're out of the rain and you get to make that choice. It just solidifies that choose your own adventure attitude that we like here.
Can venturers choose anything, or is there like a point system or a token system?
So yes, we do. We have a token system or a bronze, silver, and gold activity system. So every venturer will get 8 credits, which they can use to spend on either 1 gold, 2 silver, or 4 bronze. And if you feel like you need to do more than the 8 credits, you can buy another 8 credits on top of that. We also have a range of free activities, or unlimited activities, as we like to call them, where you can go there again and again and again, and you won't have to pay any credits.
So like the Giant Swing Cataract, would that be like a silver or bronze activity, or would that be free?
That would be unlimited.
Okay, so if you wanted to, you could just like stay on there all day with your friends and just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I mean, realistically, you could. But I'd get bored of that pretty quickly.
So what's an example of a bronze activity then?
So a bronze activity, everyone knows Sydney has Luna Park. So one of our bronze activities is actually Luna Park. So you can go into the city, spend a day at Luna Park. It'll be a fun time. Go on the rides. It's awesome.
Is it unlimited rides?
Limited during the day. Okay. Unlimited during the day. Yes.
And a silver activity, what could that be?
Sorry, I didn't get that last question.
What would an example of a silver activity be?
A silver activity? So everyone knows that in Wollongong, there's Jamboree Action Park. Now, staying on the theme of theme parks, we've got Jamboree. We've also got other things like a Blue Mountains self-guided bike tour, where you get to ride a mountain bike throughout the Blue Mountains and get to see all of the views that the locals love to see.
Awesome. And finally, a venturer, maybe they want to use all their tokens up on one big adventure, or they bought another set of tokens. What would a gold activity be like?
A gold activity would be something like the Sydney Harbour Bridge climb. You can see the best view of Sydney from the top of the Harbour Bridge.
Okay, awesome. So if you had eight tokens and you'd never been to Sydney before, what would you recommend as your ultimate introduction to New South Wales?
The ultimate introduction to New South Wales, if you've never been to Sydney, I reckon would be the Sydney helicopter flights, where you get a tour of Sydney Harbour and the Sydney CBD area from the view of a helicopter. How cool does that sound? Nice.
Now, Dave, you've been heavily involved with the process creation of the app. The app isn't just for choosing your activities, it's also for helping with payment schedules and also finding out about the latest news for the venture. How can someone download that app and make sure that they're up to date and it's working well for them?
Yeah, good question. So we've had a little bit of feedback around the app. So we've actually created a link on the homepage. So if you go to our website, ozv2021.com.au, click on your favourite app store, depending whether you're Apple or Android, and you'll be able to download the app. There's a little code that you need to put into there. So that's also on our homepage. And then, of course, you sign in with the email address and password that you created during the registration process. Now, we have had a few people who have forgotten their passwords and clicked on the reset password link. Sometimes they are going to your junk mailbox, so just check that. The link is only valid for about 2 hours, so you do have to sort of click on it and reset your password in time. If you're really stuck, send an email to info@ozv2021.com.au and our support team can help you out with that. And you're right, the app can do a lot of things for you, and we're progressively rolling out features as the date gets closer. So at the moment, you can update your basic details. Very shortly, you'll be able to check which expedition you're on. You might be able to make the preferences for gold, silver, bronze. This is more just to give Bryn a bit of a helping hand so he knows what people are interested in. And as you said, yeah, make your first payment, which was due a few days ago.
Yeah, so I guess if people, have already forgotten their password and have to send a link and it's gone to spam mail, can they request that again, or will they have to mail our team?
Look, you can request it again, but if you've forgotten which email address that you've put in, or maybe there was a bit of a typo, just send an email to our team and we'll be able to help you out. Now, we are getting about 40 to 50 requests a day, so that we are a volunteer team with day jobs, so just be patient with them, just go easy on them, but they will get to you in time.
Awesome. Has many scouting events used apps before? Is this new for a scouting space? Have we seen the system work well in the past?
Look, I think from what I understand, this is pretty new for the scouting space. I was involved in part of some previous jamborees and they were looking at rolling that out. As far as the adventure is concerned, definitely the first time. The company that we've partnered with has extensive experience with events, not only scouting, but international events with this app. And I've personally been to some of those events where the app has worked really, really well in being able to choose and change my preferences and all those sorts of things. So, well proven. In the event space. So we're really excited to see how it works for us.
Awesome. So if you haven't downloaded the OzVenture app yet, please head to our website, www.ozv2021.com.au, and on the front page, there will be a link to that app so you can download it and you can start making payments and get all the latest updates. Now, we kind of touched upon it earlier in the show that we've worked with a lot of different youth members across the country in order to get OzVenture happening. My team is mainly made up of young people, and when we started working on the marketing for OzVenture, we wanted to have something that reflected what we wanted rather than what was something more traditionally scouting focused. And yeah, for example, the rubber ducks and bottles and shirts, and Bryn's got a bucket hat on right now.
The best product.
Now, a big part of that process was the
scouting event is nothing without its bucket hat.
It's not. A big part of that process was getting young people actually involved in the team. So Cameron and Emma were two of the youth members who joined the team earliest. What excited you the most about joining the OzVenture team?
Well, for me at least, joining the OzVenture team sort of gave me an experience I hadn't sort of had before in Venturers or in Scouts in general. I like to think I've been here for a bit. And, when Dave first spoke to me about it, I just thought it would be a really good opportunity to jump on something that could get me to all these different events and to an event that I've never actually been to before and sort of experience it, which would sort of push me in Rovers and push me in Scouts and sort of challenge me a little bit, I guess.
So for people who don't know you, Cameron, who is Cameron Letta?
Well, I am a rover from Nepean Rover Crew in Greater Western Sydney region here in New South Wales. I think I've been in Scouts for about 10, 11 years, not too good at my maths, but should be sometime around that. And I'm also a Joey leader outside of Rovers as well, so that's a big part of what I do in Scouts as well.
Hang on, Cameron, you said you weren't good at maths. You're studying to be a teacher, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Maths is not my subject area though, so thanks for that, I suppose.
High school teacher.
It doesn't make it any better.
Maths is not a skill set of mine, and luckily for me, I don't need it for either of my subjects that I'm studying to teach, so we lucked out a bit there.
What's your number one scouting memory, Cameron?
Oh, I'd probably have to say, that's actually a hard one. I had one in mind now, I can't think about it. I'd have to probably say Jamborettes in general, probably some of my favourite camps. They fall on my birthday, so that's always a good thing. But Jamborettes, they actually normally held at Cataract, some of my favourite memories in Scouts.
Awesome. Now, rumors around the block is that you're going to be one of the two hosts for the opening and closing ceremony for OzVenture. Is that scary?
It's kind of daunting. I think about it and it kind of makes me want to cry a little bit, to be honest. But I'm always up for a challenge. I'm grateful that I was considered and I can't wait to do it.
Have you been on the stage much before?
Yes and no. I did do drama at school and I do some drama at uni, so it's not foreign to me, but doing it to a crowd of adventurers is very foreign to me. So we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Thank you, Cameron. Now, Emma, are you nervous about potentially hosting the OzVenture opening and closing ceremony?
Not too nervous. I mean, I've been in Cumberland Gang Show for the last 2 years, would have been 3 years, but COVID took that away from me. And last year I actually had to run on stage and tell a really dumb joke about grapes. So I've had my fair share of embarrassing myself in front of the scouting community for a laugh. So I think
it was a great joke.
Huh?
It was a great joke. Hilarious joke.
Somebody say grapes.
It was a great joke.
No, I'm very excited and grateful for the opportunity. I remember when I was at AV, there was these two like rovers similar to me and Cameron having a bit of banter on stage. So that'll be fun to be that person, I guess.
So you said before that you've been to a venture, but you didn't do the Cub section. How long have you been in scouting for?
I joined Scouts when I was 11, so in the Scout section, and I'm 20 now. So I think that's 9 years. I don't know. I'm bad at maths too.
Not a skill set of ours.
I'm a rover in GWS like Cameron from Blacktown Rover Crew. And outside of Rovers, I'm also a scout leader at Winston Hills, which is where I started Scouts.
Awesome. Now, what's been your peak scouting memory?
As Cameron said, that's a hard question. There's been so many. But I think the first thing that came to mind when you asked Cameron was when I was in Scouts, probably like 13, our leader had like a property and we'd all go and have a APL camp. And it was just a good, fun time, like out in the bush, learning different scout crafts and really focusing on leadership. That was probably one of my favourite scouting memories, was going to those camps.
Awesome. Now, what excites the both of you most? Well, actually, Cameron's already answered it. What excites you most about OzVenture and being an ambassador?
I guess the fact that it's a completely different sort of format was really exciting from the start. Like, I've been to New Zealand Venture as well, but the fact that we're having something in Australia that you can go to international expeditions and you can go to expeditions outside New South Wales was really interesting. And also I'm really passionate about the venture sections. Probably one of my definitely favourite times in Scouts was from being in Ventures. Being a chance to be the face of a really awesome event for the kids is, really exciting.
Awesome. Now, we've got a lot of stuff coming up in the next few months, and people may be planning with their units. Some people may be undecided on if they're going to go or not yet. Cameron, when do registrations close for OzVenture?
So registrations for OzVenture close on the 24th of July. And to register for the event, you just have to head over to our website, which is ozventure2021 at .com.au.
Awesome.
Not quite an email address, but...
Yeah, Neil went for an email address. I was like, hold up, that's not it.
Not quite an email address.
Oh, gosh. Numbers, Bryn, I can't do it.
Dave, registrations close on the 24th. When do payments close?
Yeah, sure. So on the FAQ page on the website is a payment schedule. So the first payments are already due, and they're in line with your branch contingent fees. So depending on where you're from, they will differ slightly. The next round of fees are associated with your flights. Now, of course, that is a little bit up in the air, no pun intended, at the moment. But we hope that when that payment is due, which is in July, that we'll have all of that sorted. So a lot of people are sort of asking, look, my flights are up in the air. Should I pay my first payment? Your first payment is linked to your contingent fee. So get that through. That just, gives commitment, shows that, how many people we're tracking along. Numbers are looking really good. Even in these challenging times. And then, the payment plan continues on. So second one is flights, third one is expedition, and the final one is, I believe, around September timeframe, which is the balance of your expedition, or of your experience, sorry.
Okay. And tonight, our other announcement is that service leader registrations go live as soon as, roughly after this broadcast ends. Are those payment plans for service leaders similar, or are they different?
They're a little bit different because the service leaders, so that you'll have your contingent fee, so that's the same. Service leaders, depending on which part they're picking, so you could be a service leader just for an expedition, or just for the core camp. So that will be a little bit different there. So it just depends on where you want to be a service leader. So we've had quite a few requests about, can we help out run an expedition? So that's a service leader, as opposed to a line leader, which is go with the youth members. And of course, you've got the option between helping at the core phase, say, for example, in entertainment, or helping on an expedition.
So just to make it abundantly clear, if I was going with my unit and I wanted to do the same expedition as a lot of them, and then I wanted the potential to maybe camp with them on the site, that would be a line leader.
Absolutely. That's a line leader, and you've been able to register as a line leader since registrations have opened, and we're still looking for line leaders at the moment. So please, if one of the expeditions really jumps at you, there's plenty of spots open. So rovers, leaders, please come along as a line leader.
And if I was a leader who really wanted to throw venturers off a rock wall all day at Cataract, what would I choose?
Look, if you wanted to throw venturers off a cliff in a very safe manner, of course.
Yeah, of course.
You would be a service leader. Could be at the Blue Mountains, or could be at the core camp running one of those activities, helping Bryn's team out.
So it's worth that service leaders check out the expedition information on our website as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had quite a few requests over the last week of people looking at the expedition saying, look, I've got scuba diving qualifications, I've got rock climbing qualifications. Do you need help running these expeditions? So certainly now that service leader registrations are open, please hit us up, and we definitely need help running this awesome event.
I'm sure a lot of people across the country are itching to get back to camp. Do you have to be a venture leader to be a service leader? Or if you're a Joey leader or a scout leader, can you come to OzVenture as a service leader or line leader?
That was probably the most common question that we answered when we launched at AJ 2019 in South Australia. And the short answer is, if you are an adult member in scouting, you can come along. So it's not just, the fund's not just excluded to venture leaders. If you're a scout leader or a cub leader and you really like the look of a particular expedition, please come on. It's not just a venture leader experience. If you're a leader, we'll more than happily take you.
Now, if you're interested in being a service leader or a leader or a rover and are interested in OzVenture in general, next week's OZV Live is going to be about leaders and rovers. Unfortunately, we've had to move the Whit Sundays episode 1 week further back, just so we can make sure that when we present it to you, we have absolutely all the information, so that when we give you the information, it's 100% correct, and hopefully we'll have final pricing by then. So as soon as we go live, you'll know exactly what's happening at the expedition, what you can expect, so that you can firm up your final expedition choices. We've just got a few questions here. This one's from Instagram. Bryn, apart from the on-site activities, what day-to-day things can venturers expect at OzVenture? Like, what fun things are you organising outside, the bronze, silver, gold, maybe in the evening, or what can they expect or get excited for?
That's a really good question. So I've been working really closely with our entertainment director, Robbie, and he's got a killer set and night entertainment and activities waiting for you. Day activities or activities that are open during the day will also mostly be open during the evening. It depends on the activity. Sometimes you have to close an activity for safety, but everything that you can do during the day, you'll be able to do during the night, and the atmosphere will be incredible with the loud music from the dance floor, or you just want a nice, chill, quiet evening in the frat tent. It's an amazing opportunity.
So if venturers like movies, would there be movies playing in the evening?
Of course there will be.
Interesting. Nice. Now, just looking through these questions here. Dave, just once again, what is the refund date if, for example, something goes wrong, or people aren't financially able to go to OzVenture? What is the final date that we've got a no risk refunds?
Short answer is it's the 3rd of August. We're constantly monitoring what's happening. So we are sensitive to, all the COVID-19 issues that are happening out there. So we're constantly reevaluating that date. But at the moment, it's the 3rd of August.
Thank you. Now, we've just got a question from someone. They're from the UK. Are we accepting international registrations right now? Or what's it look like in terms of that space? Yeah,
sure. Good question. At the moment, we've got around 8 people that have applied from the UK, and definitely there's always a strong UK contingent to this event. Unfortunately, we just have to follow the guidelines that are set out by the international governments. So if you think about UK, they have to transit through potentially one other country. So at the moment, it's not possible, but things might change. But the reality at the moment is just that international travel, with the way it is, it would be very challenging outside the Trans-Tasman bubble that they're calling for applicants to attend. So we're in constant communication with those guys. If you are interested, maybe register with the expression of interest to keep up to date. But it really is up to all of the governments and jurisdictions that you'd be transiting through. So unfortunately, right now, if the event was today, it would be virtually impossible for those guys to get here.
But just to clarify that people coming from New Zealand, it is looking more and more likely by the day that that's going to be A-OK 100% fine for the event.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, once again, we follow the government guidelines, and certainly the conversations, at a ministerial level is looking really, really positive. That when we get to stage 1 lockdowns, that travel will be opened up, which means that eventually that's just one step closer to where we need it to be. So it's looking really, really positive.
Well, cool. Now, just another question come in. When will the contingent units start to form?
So the contingent units will start to form a little bit after, probably around the September timeframe, because we do have to finalise those numbers. And of course, if we've got the potential for people shuffling around, maybe shifting expeditions, etc., then we don't want to finalise anything at that point. But certainly, I know that your team is working on some potential community hubs that everybody can be chatting to, and then we'll refine it from there.
Yeah, the marketing team has been working really hard over the last few weeks to start exploring different options. So how can everyone chat with each other before OzVenture? How can you meet the people in your expeditions? And how do we cater for people who may not have Facebook, they may not have Instagram, and still making sure that leaders can be included, but also making sure that youth members have their own spaces to talk at the same time? We had quite a few questions about that on Instagram in the last week, and we're working through those options, and we should hopefully have more information for you in that space by the end of July. However, at the moment, with everything that's happening with COVID, it's something that we're working on, but it's not going to be out straight away. Now, I was thinking, just to close off the show, it might be interesting to have a bit of a quiz between Cameron, Bryn, and Emma to see who is paying the most attention. It's not
Competition time.
Right, Xander, thank you very much for that.
Competition time.
All right. How many credit points is a gold activity?
I don't know. It's 8.
It's 1 point to Emma. Bryn, that was disappointingly slow.
Yeah, look, I was a bit slow on that.
Yelling.
Yeah, just yell. Right, question 2. Where is the site for OzVenture?
Yell.
That was me. I clearly won that.
Is it like a buzzer? Like, do I have to yell to?
I thought it's yelling the answer.
Like,
That's why.
Yeah, you're just yelling the answer.
Go straight for it.
okay.
That's why I won that, guys, because you didn't.
Yeah, so one to Cameron, 1 to Emma, 0 to Bryn. All right, what is the final date for registration?
24th of July.
Oh, 2 to Cameron, 1 to Emma, 0 to
At the
Bryn.
same time, that is not fair.
That was clearly me.
Right,
Okay, tiebreaker, I get the point.
Education is being restored there, Cameron.
Yeah, look, I only knew that.
Tiebreaker, I get the point then.
Dave, Chief Director Dave. Does Cameron get the point? Does Emma get the point? Do we give them 2 points, or is that unfair to Bryn?
Give the point to Bryn.
That went to Cameron. That was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Right, 2 to 1 to 0. It's a nice descending order. Can people choose? Can people pay the first payment if they're unsure about the flight still?
Yes.
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 Oh,
yes,
that
absolutely.
was fast off the block, Cameron. All right.
I didn't even hear Cameron. I
did.
heard Emma.
You're just
Thank you, Bryn.
Look, I'm just really slow.
All
You
right.
need better internet, Bryn. You need faster internet, mate.
And that NBN.
Look, the NBN's pretty dodge here. Got to admit.
All right. Let's try to throw Bryn a bone. Bryn, what's Bryn's favorite piece of merchandise?
The bucket
The
hat.
bucket hat.
I didn't come here to lose, Xander. I did not come here to lose.
You got to make it more personalised than that, mate. Everyone knows I love a bucket.
I've known Bryn for a while. That was so obvious.
Oh man.
Guys, that's 4 to Cameron, 1 to Emma, 0 to Bryn.
I think I should just give up. Like, there's no point. I'm not even going to make it.
All right,
I can seek defeat.
final question. If people want all the latest OzVenture updates, they want to make payments, and they want to
Download the app.
1 point to Bryn!
Yes.
That's unfair because you can't finish the question.
Bryn's crop point.
He's lost anyway, so it's fine.
Congratulations.
I think I
Cameron.
deserve 2 of Cameron's points, but
No, I.
Okay.
You're just
I think I deserve all your points, but that's all
That's
right.
hurtful.
Does anyone have any closing words before we shut the stream off?
Nah, I'm good.
get amongst it.
Get amongst it.
Get amongst it, I guess. Yeah.
Buy a bucket hat.
Yeah, the merch is available. Dave, can you give us a quick promo of the merch you've got on your table at the moment?
Well, I've got the bamboo water bottle that has got like a little tea thing in it, so it's a bit like a thermos. That's pretty cool. And
Core camp.
I know that our power banks, we had a bit of obviously supply problems with COVID and all that sort of stuff, but we've managed to upgrade them to include wireless charging as well. So that's pretty cool. So they're coming in. I think they're actually shipping tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about those as well. So available on the website. Couple of things still on back order, but they will come in pretty soon, and it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Now, I can see in your video stream, it looks like you've got a OzVenture scarf there.
Ah, yes.
Not many people have those. Can every person who goes to the event expect to get one of those fine scarves?
Absolutely. So we made up a few sample scarves. So this won't be the final version. Just need to resize a few logos and the text and whatnot. But everybody who goes to OzVenture will be getting a shirt, yet to be designed, the scarf, and I believe a hat as well.
Is it a bucket hat?
Good question.
It's got to be a bucket hat.
Maybe we should put that to a vote.
It'll be a landslide bucket hat victory, I reckon.
Well, we'll try to get you an answer for that for the next week. We'll put a poll up later this week, bucket hats or like a more Bunnings style hat. We'll put it to a vote. The people can decide. Bryn, you didn't win the quiz, so you don't get the final say on that one. I'm sorry.
I get the final say then, because I'm also for bucket hats. I still have my AJ 2013 one, so
Ooh.
bucket hats.
I wear an orange covery bucket hat everywhere. That's how committed to scouting events I am.
But not anymore because you wear your OzVenture one everywhere.
Yeah, look, some of they have different qualities, so you gotta weigh out the qualities.
Everyone has like a bit of airflow.
Yeah, that's why I wear the other ones. But this bucket hat has a really good design on it. If you can see it, it's probably backwards.
Bryn's bucket hat review.
Out of 5, what would you rate the bucket hat, Bryn?
I rated a solid 4.9 if you do decimals.
Okay.
That's maths, Cameron.
That is math. That's fair. What's the difference there? I'm not quite sure, actually.
It's like almost a 5, but still quite a 4.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you everyone so much for tuning in tonight. If you missed out on last week's episode, it's on our YouTube channel, OZV 2021. Right now, so just type OZV Live into YouTube and it'll be the first result, or put it into Google and it should show up there. And we talked to Dave again. We also talked to the International Director, Gary, and we also talked to the Director of Domestic Expeditions, Dink. Now, next week, we're going to have a panel that is completely about rovers and leaders. So if you've got any questions about what being a leader may be like, or what you may get out of the camp as a rover, send them in now so that we can make sure we get to as many of them as possible. Once again, thank you to everyone who put their questions in for tonight. And thank you everyone who joined us on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Thank you
Thanks very much. See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.
Come to OzVenture, buy a bucket hat.
Bye.